welcome back to a sports podcast. I'm your host, Ameer and Mauro. Joining me today will be Mauro Cesario.
Hey, how are ya?
I'm pretty good, Mauro. So, week 3 in the NFL now coming up. Not week 2, not week 4, week 3.
Week 3, and we've got a dandy.
And we do. There's a lot of marquee matchups, and we're going to go through them and give you our picks on the schedule. Is there anything you had to say, Mauro, before we get into it?
Before we get underway, I'd just like to point out, do you remember the 21st night of September? Because it is September the 21st, and it's Earth, Wind, and Fire Day.
You remember?
Other than that, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was my fun little tidbit for this podcast.
For sure. All right, let me pull up the doc to see. Okay, so before we get into the picks, let's go through some news in the NFL. Nothing has been more widely speculated and covered this offseason like the Antonio Brown saga. We all thought that once he got to New England, that it would be over.
Mm-hmm.
And little did we know that he would be just as much of a distraction. And now, the number one story in the NFL is that Antonio Brown has been released by the New England Patriots. What's your thoughts, Mauro?
There always had to be one last twist in the tail, eh?
Right.
I honestly saw this coming. I figured that if he wasn't gonna, it was surprising that he even played the first game, but I knew that as soon as that came out, like, not many players get away from those kind of investigations scot-free, or at least without any sort of distraction or missing any sort of time. So I figured that it was only inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, best of luck and best wishes to him if he is indeed proven innocent. But I mean, I can't see this ending well for him if this is going to go towards this, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, so with the internet, they always have their jokes, and they came at him ruthlessly. So I just saw one scrolling through Twitter, and it said basically that Antonio Brown was basically a Make-A-Wish kid.
Jesus.
And he got to go catch a touchdown pass from Tom Brady like a kid with cancer. I was just like, whoa, Jesus Christ.
0 to 100 real quick.
Basically, I was just like, okay, sure. I guess if you want to look at a short stint that just didn't work out like that, that's your prerogative.
I mean, it's a fair analogy, but I mean, it's very extreme.
Yes. So, I mean, I was kind of like, that's a quick... So with... his deal had $9 or $10 million guaranteed. Mm-hmm. And he spent 11 days on the Patriots. So I was like, 11 days, $10 million, not bad. But apparently there's a wrinkle in it to where if he wasn't on the roster by Monday or something, he would only be able to get $100,000, basically.
Yeah, that's nuts.
So I'm not sure. Maybe they released him because they had this clause in it. So in the contract, but I mean, if you're Antonio Brown, you just pissed away, what was it, from the Raiders that you had guaranteed 34 or something $1 million.
Man.
And you get your wish and go to the Patriots, and now you only may come out of it with $100,000.
Like, financially, it was a very, very weird situation he put himself in, because he went from 30 million to 10 million. Logistically speaking, it was a pretty good idea. You get yourself out of Oakland onto a team where you're basically a Super Bowl contender. Like, nobody else is going to beat you, and now it's come to this, where this big wrinkle in the plan ends up basically costing him what could be his entire season, if not his entire career.
Yeah, like, a lot of people online were also saying, is it more likely that Antonio Brown plays another game or doesn't in the NFL again? And with all the concern around him, I don't think he plays again this year.
Definitely not this year, I don't think. But I mean, if he keeps himself in good shape and there's interest in him, I can't see why. Unless
Which I don't doubt that he's going to be in good shape, but it's just with all the drama that comes with Antonio Brown, I don't know if you can afford to. If any team if he's worth the trouble anymore.
The baggage that he carries, is it worth taking on? Yeah.
So, and with New England, it's kind of the kiss of death. If it didn't work there, then why would it work anywhere else?
Yeah, 100%. Literally,
in the greatest situation possible. And also, it's kind of the Patriots didn't need Antonio Brown. Like, he wasn't worth the distraction to them. Would I like a team like Buffalo to sign Antonio Brown? That would be nasty.
Yeah.
Go with Smokey Brown and get Josh Allen another weapon to throw to him. I think that's a possibility. But during the investigation, I don't know if any team can legitimately touch Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I don't think it's in any of the team's best interest to do so anyway, especially with the Kareem Hunt happening last year. Like, it was kind of weighted.
But at least there was a resolution, you know what I mean?
It was a resolution, and at least it was, I don't remember the exact timeline, but the Browns at least waited until all the dust settled, until they came to terms with it and said, okay, we're going to put this guy on our roster, right?
Yeah,
so
it wasn't until, what, this April or May or something.
There's got to be a conclusion to this before any team goes ahead and even puts in any sort of interest on this guy, because at this point it's still too early to tell. You
have anything else on this?
I mean, we've been talking so much Antonio Brown. I think everything's been exhausted. No, unless you got anything, I'm good to.
I mean, like,
to go.
Okay, from the Patriots' perspective, like, I still think that they're probably the favorite to win the Super Bowl, but
yeah, I don't think this changes
much. It
makes
them less scary, but then again, like, Josh Gordon's still your number 2 receiver. You still have Julian Edelman. As a Julian Edelman fantasy owner, I feel great right now because, with Antonio Brown, he was trying to kind of he takes away from everyone. Not in a negative way, but just like...
Yeah. Even Philip Dorsett
on the field.
Philip Dorsett as a third receiver is still great. And they had Demaryius Thomas, which, I mean, they had 5 guys at that point. They shipped him off to the Jets just because they had an abundance of guys. I still think that it's a great receiving corps around Tom Brady, more than enough for him to ever need.
Yep. So, that's the Patriots. Let's go into there's three new starting quarterbacks this week.
Oh yes.
Well, I mean 4 if we're counting Luke Falk.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Oh, and Kyle Allen for the Panthers, so 5.
Damn. I shortchanged this list.
But talk about your boy Mason Rudolph.
I mean, Mason Rudolph's gonna come in with against a 2-0 49ers team on the road
and they look hot.
And they won. Yeah, we had spoke about this before, but they won both their first 2 games on the road. So I think he's got his work cut out for him. Like, he's got a tough test here. Like, I know it's
not a very intimidating place to go into. But it's still a test facing a good team on the road. And I think 49ers defense is good. And if the 49ers get a guy like Jalen Ramsey, I think that they could be a playoff team. So I think that it's when people talk about hot starts, and if you're a believer or like a non-believer in a team, I would go into the believer side of the 49ers more than, like, are they a 500 team or better? I would believe so.
At this point in time, I think so. Like, they've made good on their offense, considering that going into this season, I didn't really see a big threat in their wide receive corps. But that Raheem Mostert and Mostert and Breida have shown great.
Yeah, and they've been a great run-heavy team in the league so far.
Yeah, like it's
and
been
Jimmy
working.
G hasn't been turning it over that much. I agree, though, that they do need a little help in the receiving core. But
I mean,
the part of the team I believe in is that defense.
Yeah, definitely.
Talk about your boy Daniel Jones.
Okay, so we've waited 2 weeks
Danny
now.
Dimes.
We've waited 2 weeks now, and we've benched Eli, and we got Daniel Jones coming in. And I think they actually stand a chance to win, but I mean, they're not throwing him into a great position to succeed. I know it's against the 49ers, the Bucks, who, I mean, they didn't look all that impressive against the Panthers. They ended up winning, but I don't know. I don't know what to think right now for Daniel Jones because I want him to do well. I think he can do well, but I don't know. Like, there's so much questions I see that can come up from this game. Like, he's got Shepard back. He's got Slayton back. So he's got something going for him.
It's a great situation for him.
Yeah. Like, having Shepard and Slayton back are going to definitely help his chances. He's going to have somebody to target to. Like, he's not going to be having to hit Benny Fowler the third, right? At least he's got guys.
Is Cody Latimer still on the team?
Yes, but I want to say he's injured.
Okay.
But I don't know.
But yeah, you have two legitimate targets in Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram.
Yeah, at least he's got that to work with.
Saquon.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a bad offensive line.
Mm-hmm. And a defense that basically got picked apart position by position onto different rosters this offseason. So. And
your first-round corner, DeAndre Baker, has been the worst cornerback in the league so far. So.
Yep.
You know, work in progress there. Like, it's... You just look at the situation that Russell Wilson had to go into when he started for Seattle, and they had not everything figured out, but the defense was figured out. He kind of made those wide receivers, Doug Baldwin and Golden Tate, back then, and they created that chemistry. But in terms of like skill positions around him, I think Daniel Jones has more around him than a guy like Russell Wilson did back then, except he doesn't have enough to win because the other side of the football is horrendous right now.
Yep. Basically, any and everybody they had that was of a name, like a named player, is gone. Mm-hmm. Like Vernon's gone. Snacks Harrison's gone. They got rid of Eli Apple. I know he wasn't the greatest in what I had seen from him those past couple of years, but I mean, they basically took everything they had on that defense. Landon Collins is gone. They didn't tag him or sign him. Like, everybody's gone on that defense, and it's showing like badly. So I think he has the chance to do well from the offensive standpoint, but I don't think it's going to lead to any sort of success in the win column right away or anywhere in this season.
Right now.
Yeah.
And the quarterback that I feel the worst for is Josh Rosen. Because in his entire career, he goes from basically bad to worse. Mm-hmm. The Arizona Cardinals last year were bad enough to secure the first overall pick because Josh Rosen had no real talent around it. He had the worst offensive line.
Yeah.
And now he's going to the team with the worst supporting cast ever. Mm-hmm. And maybe something that we can do in the future is look at these 0-16 teams like the Browns and the Lions and dissect those teams back then and see legitimately who has like the least amount of star players on them and like players that were with them when the team got out of the mud per se.
Yeah.
Like when the team turned around. Because at least those Cleveland teams that went 0-16, there's Myles Garrett was on that team. There were guys on them.
Yeah.
And I think with the 0-16 Lions, I'm pretty sure Calvin Johnson was on that team. Or Matthew Stafford, one or the other, I think was on that team. Like, this Miami Dolphins team legitimately has...
They got nothing.
They have their first overall pick from this year, Christian Wilkins. They have Xavier Howard. And then I don't think that they have an above-average player on the entire team.
No. Kiko Alonso's gone. Minka Fitzpatrick's gone.
Mm-hmm. Laramie Tunsil's gone.
They shipped out Kenny Stills. I mean, who's left? Devontae Parker and Kenyon Drake. I mean,
they're both average
players. At best. Yeah. So.
And they want to move on from Drake.
Oh, I'm sure.
If Josh Allen or if Josh Rosen can have some sort of success with the team, then all power to him, because I don't see how he can.
I mean, yeah, like from that perspective, at least Daniel Jones has some sort of upside where Rosen's basically got nothing. Like he's going fresh into the fire on the road against the Cowboys. Like, geez.
Yeah. So, all right. You want to get into our week 3 picks?
Yeah, we can go into the week 3. So, to cap off Thursday, which, to be honest, I forgot about my pick. Good thing I had written it down beforehand, but I did believe in Gardner Minshew, which was to my surprise.
This is a contentious. Did Mauro actually pick the Tennessee Titans or the Jacksonville Jaguars like he is pleading to have done?
My last edit,
I don't know.
I can confirm on my laptop that the last edit done on this was the 17th of September, which would have been Tuesday at 9:17, which would have been right after we recorded our Tuesday podcast, or in between that point.
All right. Well, whatever you say. Whatever you say.
I need any and from the perspective of me being so far behind, will it really matter anyway?
I mean, it's so early. Like, who knows? All right, let's get into these picks. So, on Thursday, me and Brant both had the Titans. You had the Jags, apparently.
Right.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
All right. The Miami Dolphins at the Dallas Cowboys. What are they? A 30-point favorite, or 23, 27, something like that?
Yeah, they're
Dallas
one of those two that are 20+ favorite.
Yeah, New England and Dallas.
I'm gonna take the Dolphins. Right. Yeah.
Okay. No, you said it. No, you said it.
Of course, I'm taking the Cowboys. What is this? Amateur hour?
Yeah, you're the biggest Cowboys fan.
Yeah, I hate taking the Cowboys, but I mean, I'm not stupid.
Next game, Cincinnati at Buffalo.
I'm taking the A team, the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, so am I, and so is Brant.
I'm even going as far as to stream Josh Allen this week in my work pool, just because I like that matchup so much, and I think he's actually got a good chance to light them up.
Yep, I agree. Because like Cincinnati last week, if they can't win against the 49ers, but then again, we think the 49ers are now good, just like we thought the Tennessee Titans were good heading into this week.
Yeah.
Or last week after the week 1 win against who did they win against week 1?
Browns.
Yeah, convincingly. So who knows? Detroit at Philly. I took Philly. So did Brant.
Yeah, I took the Eagles. I mean, this could be a shocker, though, because I feel like we all took the Chargers, too, in week 2, and it ended up...
And then Indy upset them.
Yeah, so...
New England, the Jets at New England. I think... Yeah.
I'll laugh this one off, but yeah, obviously...
Luke Falk, man. Luke Falk. Dude, he could shock everyone.
He could shock the world, yeah. I still like Tom Brady in terms of for the purpose of this pick.
The Atlanta Falcons at the Indianapolis Colts. I took the Atlanta Falcons, and so did Brant.
I'm gonna 3-0 that because I don't really know what the Colts are, and I think I took the Titans last week against them, and I lost, so I'm going to keep rolling with it because I don't know how much I really trust this Colts team, because as much as I like the team around Brissett, like I just don't know what to think of that offense still.
For sure.
And I think Marlon Mack is out, is he not? Or at least signs are pointing to him being out. He hasn't been practicing this week.
I'm going to look it up. His status is up in the air. Marlon Mack is on track to play, though.
Okay, he is on track to play.
Yeah. So there's that. Next game, the Oakland Raiders at the Minnesota Vikings. Who you got, Mauro?
Who's at home this one? The Vikings? Yeah, I have the Vikings, but...
As do I and Brant.
This feels like a very good week to play pools. I don't know. Some of these are very, very heavily favored in terms of one side. There aren't too many toss-ups, except for maybe one or two.
If Oakland was healthy, like with Abrams being out and Josh Jacobs being hurt this week, like he's got an ankle injury, I think, and also he's sick and apparently lost 10 pounds or something crazy.
Jeez.
I just don't feel great about the Raiders this week against the Vikings at Minnesota.
Yep.
Next game, Denver Broncos at the Green Bay Packers. I took the Packers and Brant did as well.
Yeah, I'll 3-0 that one again because don't believe in Joe Flacco still. I did it last week and it killed me.
I'm not betting on him ever. The Baltimore Ravens at Kansas City Chiefs, maybe the game of the week.
I think
somehow
so.
It's a 1 o'clock game, I think.
Yeah, this is a 1 o'clock game. I took the Chiefs still. I don't know. I feel like this could go either way.
So did the three of us then, because
wow.
I
thought somebody of us would have taken the Ravens.
No. I'm going to start Lamar Jackson against,
I trust that because the Chiefs secondary is very leaky.
I'm thinking about Hollywood Brown, but I'm not sure because I have him in one league I have. So I don't know about that one, but let's move on to the next game. The Carolina Panthers at the Arizona Cardinals. I took the Cardinals. Brant took I took the Cardinals. Brant took the Carolina Panthers. Who do you say, Mauro?
I'm gonna be the rubber mat, or I'm gonna be the one that decides to say the tiebreaker. I'm taking the Cardinals.
Yeah, let's go. It's just one of those games that I think, no Cam Newton. I think the Cardinals aren't bad, and I think Kyler Murray's good.
Yeah.
And I just think that this is one of those games that you're facing a banged-up team, and I think you can win this game. I think it'll be close, though.
I feel like McCaffrey's going to basically have to do every little bit in order to make this game
just load
close.
The box against him.
Yeah.
But Kyle Allen, that game that he started, week 17 last year for the Panthers, he played well. So who knows if that was a mirage or if he's the real deal. We'll see. The debut of Danny Dimes, the New York Giants at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I took Tampa Bay. Brant took the Giants. We the tiebreaker here, Mauro.
I'm taking the Buccaneers.
Oh!
Yeah.
Don't even believe in Danny Dimes.
I want this to be a jinx pick more than anything.
All right.
Because
I don't know with the last two picks, me and you being on the same side is a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know.
Let's just put it this way. I took them to beat the Bills last week and it didn't work. So I'm going to do the reverse and I'm going to take the Bucs and see what happens. Worst case, I'm right and it looks good, but I don't know.
All right.
I still don't think the team around Daniel Jones is going to be able to get it done for him.
Okay, the New Orleans Saints at the Seattle Seahawks. The New Orleans Saints without Drew Brees. Teddy Bridgewater, Taysom Hill
The
versus
dual
Russell
QB
Wilson.
tandem, eh? Ooh.
Well, who knows? Me and Brant both took Seattle.
Yeah, I'll go Seattle with that one too because
Seattle's a weird team, man. They're 2-0, right?
But that's a shaky 2-0.
Right? Exactly.
That is a crazy 2-0. They started the season against which? Both of the AFC North? Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was like a 4-point win with like a last quarter touchdown against the Bengals that did not look very convincing. And then the game against the Steelers wasn't that convincing either.
It was a fourth quarter game, yeah.
They love to leave it late. Like, in my history of picking Russell Wilson and other Seahawks, like, I've just come to learn that they don't score points until very late on. So they love leaving it late. But, I mean, that being said, I like their chances against the thing. the
they're
Saints.
a team that like I never picked them as much as I should, but like I kind of have reason not to. I don't know. Like I don't think they're that good, but I think that they're better than the Saints without Drew Brees.
Yeah.
Because they didn't look great last week, so who knows? The Houston Texans at the LA Chargers. Who you got, Mauro?
I took the Chargers, hoping that they'd rebound against the disastrous pick play at the end of the game against the Lions. So
me and Brant both took the Houston Texans. So that'll be
I wasn't really.
contest.
I know they're up against a tough defense in week 2 against the Jags, but I mean, it didn't look that convincing. I don't know. I didn't catch much of the game, but they only scored 14 or 13 against the Jags. So I don't know.
I thought it was 17 to or something. I don't know. Can't remember.
They won on the 2-point stuff, right, against them. So I don't
13-12.
Yeah.
Yep. So it'll be close. I think in that one, more offense than last week. That's
I
for sure.
think it'll be a lot better of a game in terms of the offense. 100%.
Pittsburgh at San Francisco. The debut of Mason Rudolph, and San Francisco trying to go 3-0. Who you got, Mauro? I got San Francisco, and so does Brant.
Wow, I didn't think this one would go unanimous, but yeah, I took the 49ers too.
I think Pittsburgh's frisky, though. I think they're frisky.
They're on the road, so I don't know. I'd give it to the home team just for that reason alone. Like, they haven't been playing well enough, and then again, rookie quarterback on a week where he's debuting. I'm picking both to not get it done, so that's kind of my analysis of it.
The Sunday night game, the LA Rams at the Cleveland Browns. Who do you have, Mauro? Because me and Brant are split on this. I have the Rams. Brant has the Browns.
Damn, I took the Rams. They look good against the Saints.
They did.
So,
and also, I think Cleveland's was probably the most overhyped team heading into the regular season. So, I think the Rams should be a favorite even on the road.
Yeah.
Because Baker Mayfield doesn't look great right now.
I haven't been sold on his game thus far. I still think that they're trying to gel together everything, but I don't know. Njoku's not well. He's got the concussion, I believe, and
he's on IR.
Yeah, I know the defense was playing real well, but it was against the Jets, right? They got to him so many times, but I like the Rams even as a visitor. I don't know.
Yeah, because Mayfield's like led the league, I think, in interceptions since he's been the quarterback there. Like he puts the ball up a lot. The Monday night game is the Chicago Bears at the Washington Redskins. I think me and Brant both have Chicago. Who do you say, Mauro?
Yeah, I got the Bears as well, but I mean, I haven't been sold on them in either of their games so far.
For me, this is one of those games where I'm taking the better team, but it won't shock me if Washington wins just because I don't believe in the Bears that much.
Yep.
Like I'm not a Mitch Trubisky guy. I've never been. And did you know that Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson were drafted over Mitch Trubisky? Did you know that?
They were drafted behind him.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah. He was they traded up to get him at 2, did they not?
Yes, they did. Did you not know that?
Yeah, that I remember. And then Deshaun Watson went later. Oh,
I was trying to be facetious.
You got me there.
Yeah,
but it has not looked good from the offensive standpoint for the Bears.
Yep. So that's our week 3 picks in the NFL. Should we go? Should I do a quick overview or no?
We can go quick. I just want to see how many of them, because I feel like Brant went one way where us two went the other for a couple of these. I want to hear it again.
Okay, so me and Brant both had the Titans, and then you had the Jags, and they won.
Yeah.
On Thursday night. We all had the Cowboys against Miami.
Mm-hmm.
We all have Buffalo against Cincinnati.
Yeah.
We all have Philly against Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
We all have New England against the Jets.
Yeah.
We all have Atlanta against Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
We all have Minnesota against Oakland.
Yeah.
We all have Kansas City against Baltimore.
Yeah.
We all have Green Bay against Denver. And now we get into the
4 o'clock.
fights.
The 4 o'clocks is where it got a little bit fun. But yeah, those 1
contentious,
o'clock games were a little bit easy.
Me and you both had Arizona against the Panthers, where Brant had the Panthers.
Yeah.
In the Giants game, Brant took the Giants, and me and you both took the Buccaneers.
Mm-hmm.
We all had Seattle against New Orleans.
Yep.
Me and Brant had
Houston where
Texans
I had the Chargers.
Yeah, you had the Chargers. We all had San Francisco against Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
And me and you both took the Rams at Cleveland, where Brant took Cleveland, and we all three had the Bears against Washington.
So I don't stand to lose
slate.
as much ground this week is what I'm getting from this. Worst case, which
because
is good.
Me and you have basically the same picks. Well, you can make up a lot of ground.
That's what I mean. At least I can't lose much. I stand more to gain than I do to lose, so that's good.
Yeah. I think Brent took some risky picks also, like picking the Giants, taking Cleveland.
Yeah, that Cleveland pick that could be a shocker though. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Carolina. So who knows? The thing is, no matter how many times you take the favorite, there's always upsets every week.
Mm-hmm. I just really hope it's not the Cowboys though, because everybody in my survivor pool is. I think there's like 3 of us that went Cowboys, and then the rest of the pool dispersed, saying, "You know what? Just in case, I'm not picking the Cowboys." So I'm running the anti-Dolphin strategy, and so far it's been paying off.
Yeah, not a bad strategy to go to. All right, let's talk about some NHL news.
Yeah,
because there's not really much going on in other sports right now.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas Chabot signed an 8-year extension worth $64 million, so that's an $8 million AAV.
Yeah.
All I can say is, playing for Ottawa, like, they're a bad team, and if you're a player for them, you sign bad deals, because this is an awful deal for Chabot.
Yeah, like, considering the history they have in terms of throwing away money at players, this is a good deal for it's a good deal for Ottawa,
but for him, it's a great deal for Ottawa. There's no bonus money on the deal.
Yeah, he's leaving a lot on the table here for himself.
Yeah. I think he just wanted the security and wanted the money now. Isn't he French Canadian also? So like, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, Thomas Chabot. So like, it makes sense.
I think he likes it there. I mean, yeah, the whole French Canadian thing, being able to play in the capital, I think it appeases him.
Isn't he basically their future captain?
Yeah, I think that's safe to say.
I think that's safe to say. Except he's not wearing an A this year, which is stupid.
That's weird.
It's Hainsey, Orvietsky, and shit, who's the last one? Colin White, maybe? Let me look it up.
Wow.
What was your thoughts on the deal, Mauro?
Yeah, I think he's choosing security over him banking on himself and doing kind of like a bridge deal where he's leaving a lot on the table. Like, you're talking about a guy who put up 50 points last year, and he's what, like
on a
22
bad team.
On a bad Ottawa team. And I feel like if you wait it out maybe a year, how much time does he still have left as an RFA? Is he up at the end of this year? Because if he is, like, if you wait it out the end of the year and he excels from that 50-point season, like, he's looking at least $10 million a year. right? At least he's got something to work off of to make it seem as if he's worth that much. Like compared to just the one season at 50, if he doubles that down and does it again, you know, he stands a better chance in terms of the negotiation process.
It is kind of one of those deals where because he's getting no bonus money, I was expecting the AAV to be higher. It's a great deal for Ottawa.
Yeah,
fantastic.
100%.
Can't hate them, but I hate that the player took it in a way. But if he's happy, I mean, good, go for it. The captains for Ottawa this year: Mark Borowiecki, Ron Hainsey, and Jean-Gabriel Pageau. I don't get why Chabot isn't an assistant or whatever the
that's
A stands for. Yeah, like I don't get it.
I don't know. That's Ron Hainsey, Mark Borowiecki. I mean, of all those forwards though, I mean, I don't think there's a forward on the team that really gets it. Like,
I mean, Colin White just signed the extension. I'd give it to him. I mean, Brady Tkachuk's the future of that team. Yeah,
I think if out of all of them, probably Brady Tkachuk, just because of just his presence. I think he and Chabot are really the two guys moving forward that I see having the brightest future, and basically are the best young forward, best young defenseman of this team. So to see neither of them get it is kind of shocking.
Yeah, I agree with you. What else do we have to talk about? At least preseason.
It's been looking good. At least they won their first game.
Preseason hockey sucks because it's like so you're playing with your, you know, two lines that are actually NHL caliber, and then two lines that are basically your AHL players.
Yep. That
are fighting for a spot on like a fourth line, if that.
Basically,
so it's kind of sucked, but it's been all right. I mean, the biggest takeaway, I guess, from last night's game against the Sabres was that Ilya Mikheyev looks really good.
Yep.
I like him playing with Matthews and Nylander. I don't know. That's just me.
You're going that way already, eh?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Because like he's a bigger body guy too.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Put him on the left side, and
yeah.
I just think that with Johnson there, it's too much finesse and not enough grit. That's why I just. I mean, my best case scenario is put Hyman back there, but I don't know if they're going to do that. I don't know. What do you say?
I really like the Mikheyev both games, because I caught the Sabres game yesterday and I caught the Sens on, I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday.
At Ottawa one.
Yeah, and Mikheyev has looked really good. I've liked his game. He's been pretty fast along the wing, but I don't think you mess up, me personally, I don't think you mess up Nylander, Janssen, and Matthews, because they were looking real good, and I know it's just preseason hockey, but they had a lot of chemistry that I like when they link those two up, especially, and then throwing him on the wing to do the dirty work.
Matthews and Nylander have chemistry. I don't know.
Yeah, but then throwing Janssen there to do the dirty work, I think it does well for that line.
Jansen's not a dirty work kind of guy. I think that's a disservice to Janssen if you're making him do the dirty work. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think you give it a shot just because, and you don't make it seem as if Mikheyev's got it right off the bat, but I think it's worth it to try him later on. Maybe give it a week, a month, just to for the sake of seeing what you have in the kid. Because he's coming over from the KHL, is he not? I don't know how old, but
26.
Okay, so he's like basically
I'm not opposed to putting Janssen on the first line with Tavares and thing until Hyman's back either, and then put Kapanen on the third line with
Kerfoot,
and then I don't know and Trevor Moore.
Yeah,
be a good line also. Something I've just been noticing in the preseason, it is a drop with Kerfoot and Kadri.
Yeah,
I don't know, like just from a presence perspective, even though Kerfoot plays the PK, it just seems different. Like, it just seems not as lethal, I'll say.
I agree with you in that. But I mean, it's going to take... Like, there's no...
I'm not going to judge him based off of the preseason.
Like, there's nothing he could do about that. Like, he's not the same level as a player as Kadri. At least he hasn't shown it yet. He's got, back-to-back 40-point seasons where Kadri's basically been like a 30-goal scorer for the last couple of years, or at least close to.
And
so,
like,
I mean, there is a drop-off.
Too, right? Like, he signed to, what, 3.5 for 4 years or something? Like, it's a fair deal. It's a good deal for them if he's your third-line center of the future. Another takeaway I've had was Rasmus Sandin. He looks like he's ready for the NHL, and the fact that he's playing on the right side, I think, is huge. Like, if you legitimately told me that Rasmus Sandin heading into the playoffs was on the right side of Morgan Rielly, I would believe you, because like, he's looked phenomenal. And if he can play the right side, what's the problem with having him?
Yep. I liked Sandin's game, and I've also liked Liljegren's game so far. I think both of those guys can... I don't know if you pair them together, but both of those guys should be playing come the start of the season.
That's the weird thing. When I've seen them, they've had Sandin on the right side. I can't remember with who, but when Liljegren's been out there, he's been on the right side with a subpar defender on the left. I think Sandin was on the right and Marinson was on the left, and I was just like, oh god.
Yeah.
Like, let's see them together. What if that's your third pair to start the season? I like that. I like that. I don't know.
Yep.
Shout out Kirk Cousins.
I'd just like to point out that I really think that Ben Harper is going to be the new Roman Polak, where Babcock loves him. He loves the big body, the presence he has in terms of just a big build, strong guy, and he's just going to throw him out there whenever he can. I feel like this is just a new toy for Babcock.
And I'm not opposed to that right now because, look, do I understand that that Ben Harper is bad analytically? Yes. Do I remember that goal that he let up in the first preseason game where he just whiffs on blocking a shot? Yes. Do I remember when he was in a fight and the linesman was grabbing him while he's getting his face hit in? And it was totally unfair. Yes. But it's so hard to judge these guys based off of preseason. Like, look, give them a shot if you believe in them. But once I think that we can all recognize, based off of regular season action, that these guys aren't good, then we can chastise the coach for playing them.
Yeah. That's why you don't get a real representation of what you got in preseason, because the kids that are playing are up against other kids. It's a big half NHL, half AHL game, like you were saying before. And until we see it come October 2nd, we won't know.
For sure. I can't wait. I want basketball and hockey in my life. It's just so much better when it is. I don't know.
Like, watching it yesterday, it was just a very big tease.
Basically, the lap dance of sports preseason. Any other takeaways you have from preseason? Any thoughts on like Barry, Muzzin? I don't know.
I didn't catch too much of them so far, but I think Muzzin could be a really big help this year, just because last year coming in mid-season, having a full year now now that he knows the full system, I think he'll be a bigger help than he was last year. I think Barry being able to take the load off of Rielly will help him, just because he put up like 72 points as a defenseman last year. That was unbelievable. But having a second guy now, that's not Jake Gardiner, to put up those points and jump in the attack and be able to quarterback the power play, I think it'll do the Leafs well. They're in a better spot defensively than they were last year, and I really think it can translate into better success.
Rielly still the PP1 guy on the point?
Honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to running a two-man 2D man PP1.
All right, so let's work this out right now then. You got Rielly, Barry. Okay. Marner,
Austin,
Matthews, Tavares,
and then Tavares in front of the net.
Okay, what's PP2 then?
It drops, but I'd say Nylander for sure.
Janssen
on the other
front.
wing.
Isn't he net front?
I think he's a bit small to be net front, no?
Well, he was net front last year when Kadri went out.
Okay, let's, for the sake of that, sure, we'll throw him at the net front. You might have to throw one of the defensemen back.
Who? Exactly, because I mean, like, who would be legitimately... If Sandy makes the team, then I guess so. Sandine or Liljegren.
I wouldn't be opposed to that either, throwing Sandine out there.
One of those guys, I agree. Because you're not really throwing Muzzin out there.
No. Big shot, but I think he's a little bit too slow.
It's more of in a 5-on-5 kind of offensive game that he has.
Yeah.
Rather than a power play. What else do we have? The second unit.
Trevor Moore. I don't know. Would you throw Trevor Moore on there? Just let him buzz around there with the extra space. Kapanen, Moore, Janssen, Nylander, and Sandine. I don't know.
I think that they spread the wealth.
You think they go one defense?
I think so.
I think it's probably in their best bet, but I wouldn't mind seeing it just for the sake of seeing it, right?
All right, here's what Daily Faceoff has for the first and second power play units. They got Janssen, Tavares, Marner, Matthews, Riley.
Okay.
Then the second, Kapanen, Kerfoot, Nylander, Barry, Spezza.
Wow.
I guess because he can still dish the puck.
Yeah.
I don't hate that.
See, like, the Leafs are in a very good spot, right? It's a very good problem to have when you have basically two defensemen that can hit 60 points, right? Like, Barry was, like, I think 59 points last year, and Riley was, like, 72. Like, it's a good problem to have. It's like what San Jose's got, where you got Carlson and Burns. I think they ran a dual... Basically, the dual pistol in the back, double barrel of them in the PP1.
Yeah. Sometimes they went away from it, but a majority of the time I think they were together.
The thing is, they're both right-handed shots.
Or at least when Carlson was healthy, yeah.
Yeah, they're both right-handed shots, as opposed to those two, which are one lefty, one righty.
Which is a benefit.
Which is better to have, yes.
Yeah. And I think because the Leafs are so right-handed heavy, in my opinion, I don't know. You just look at all the right-handed shots that they have. Kapanen,
Nylander,
Marner, Nylander. That I think it helps them to have, like, because all those guys would either play on the line or on the right side. It helps to have the defenseman on the other side, which the left-handed shot's just better.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to put Riley on the first, and then I guess Barry on the second. Even though Barry might be the better guy.
Yep.
I don't know. I think also it's better that Riley's the guy in the first unit because Marner's a right-handed shot that has the puck most of the time on the power play anyways.
Yep.
So with two right-handed shot guys right there, I don't know. It could be awkward.
And that's the thing, like, I see, like, there's still a lot of depth that this team has, despite missing both Dermott and Hyman coming into the season. And it's a good problem to have. You get a good view, a good sample size, because they're going to be missing a month to see what you have in these kids, right? And it gives you the opportunity to throw a guy like Sandin or Liljegren on a second power play if they choose to, just for the sake of seeing what they have before they go ahead and send anybody down, because Dermott, I'm sure, is going to make his way into the top 4, top 5 of the defense, right?
Yep.
And then
I think top 5. The bottom pair of Dermott, Sandin, or Liljegren when Dermott's healthy, that's great. And maybe by the time when Dermott's healthy, who knows if CC's even playing, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, if he's your 5th or 6th defenseman, I think you're happy. I don't know.
Yeah.
He hasn't looked bad so far. I don't know. Like, he hasn't looked great, but he hasn't looked awful.
But that's what I mean. I think he could play a different style in Toronto just because they have the guys who are offensively minded, and he's a bigger body, and he could basically. I feel like he could play a little bit of a quicker game than Muzzin, but basically that kind of stay-at-home guy. I don't know how much of that he did in Ottawa, but I feel like he's got the build. Just seeing him on the ice, like he can play that kind of style.
And even the thing in Ottawa is like he never got to play with a good guy next to him. Who do you play with his entire career? I don't know, like Orvietsky. I don't like legitimately. I don't know because he couldn't play with Carlson because they're both right-handed shots. And Mathot was playing with like back when they were good. Mathot was playing with
years
Carlson.
Ago. Yeah.
Who did CC play with? I don't know.
I think it'll be again having Dermott miss time. As much as I hate to say it, but I mean, it's a good problem to have the chance now to see.
Because it's gonna give guys an opportunity to grow.
To grow and just to see where you can position them come playoff time if you need to throw in a seventh defenseman into the mix, or if you have an injury. It's good to see a full month's worth of what they can bring.
For sure. Anything else to talk about with the Leafs? Oh, the goalies.
Yeah, I was gonna say we could talk.
Michael Hutchison has not looked great so far. And Michael Neuwirth is on a PTO, right?
Yep.
And there's been a lot of speculation that if Hutchison isn't good and Neuwirth isn't ready to go because he's injured and stuff, that waivers was going to be the way to acquire a goalie. Is there guys that intrigue you? Because I know Louis Domingue got
there are a couple guys, yesterday. It's kind of like the death
Mike
day
Condon,
for goalies. Sparks gone, Domingue gone, Condon, Dansk. I think that it is a point of concern for the Leafs just seeing how things had gone last year with Sparks. And I don't really trust Hutchison all that much either. So I think going this route might be worth their while. Because again, and I was listening to the interview report yesterday, and Elliot Friedman was saying basically that this team goes as far as Frederik Andersen can take them, right? Yep. And he's going to have to be a workhorse in the season, and he's going to have to be that much more come playoffs. So any break he can get in the season is going to be that much more valuable.
For sure.
And I think acquiring a backup who's basically ready to step in and fill the void when he's not ready, and knock on wood if he goes down, that it's that important to have somebody. So whether it even means throwing a 4th round pick at a team for a guy plus whoever, it'll be worth it. It would be worth it, yeah.
I think the name that's most intriguing for Leafs fans is Louis Domingue, just because he's played last year and he played well during the time when Vasilevsky was injured. So, but the problem with him is that he's got a $1.15 million cap hit.
Yep.
So it's significantly, I think, more than most of these other goalies that are available.
Yeah.
And with the Leafs cap troubles, I don't know if they can afford to get him. I don't like.
Yeah, that's where it runs into a tricky situation, because they're already up against the cap, and that's why you're already asking Frederik Andersen to play 60 plus games a season, even closer to, I think prior to this year, I think it was back to back 66 game seasons, and this year he dropped to 60. I know he had a bit of an time off with injury, but I mean still the cap trouble doesn't
no
help
one's played
them.
more than him in the last 3 years, and if the Leafs want to compete, get out of the first round, Freddie Andersen has to have a lesser load.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. And the problem is that they don't have a reliable backup.
They did.
How about Garrett Sparks round 2?
No, they did, but they waived him last year Curtis McElhinney, and he looked good.
I guess that's why, like, Tampa's going with him as their backup, right?
And I don't blame them.
No, he's a. You know what? Like, watching the game yesterday against the Sabres, Linus Ullmark is so bad. Like, but he makes some ridiculous saves.
He made that fish flop save where basically Matthews had him, and then he just threw his body because he tried to outweight him. One. Yeah,
like his positioning is just awful. I don't in my opinion. Like, but
yeah, I saw a couple of those saves yesterday. He was out of position, and he basically had to sprawl out and make the save a lot worse and a lot harder than it really needed to be.
Yeah, backup goalie is one of the tougher positions to play in hockey, just because you just don't get the reps, and you don't get to face the top-tier guys, so you can't get better, and then when you're called upon, you're expected to play like the starter, if not, and sometimes you're called in.
You're thrown into the fire,
the pressure that's on you is so much more than it would be if you're just the regular goalie, because it's old hat. Mm-hmm. In this scenario, it's we need you or else we're going to suffer and either be eliminated or we're not going to make the playoffs. Like, it's a lot of pressure on them. And we'll see who gets it. Anything else to talk about this week, Mauro?
I think that's everything. Like, all this Leafs talk has got me very excited. Like, I'm very excited for the NHL season to start. And this preseason stuff is it's just teasing me right now. Like, I'm ready. Just fuck. What are we? 2 weeks away now? Not even.
I know.
October 2nd.
It's not that I'm not happy that like football's back and stuff. It's just that during the week is so boring.
Yeah.
Because there's no other sports going on to where it's at a competitive level to see. So I need something else during the week, and there's more news, and I'm just sick of this like off-season talk of speculation. Like, I just want to see
that's what I mean.
Legitimate
like,
action.
We still have RFAs that haven't signed yet, and that's all that seems to be talked about still. Like, we've got like 4 or 5 guys still.
Should we give our weekly update on them and like what we think that they should get around, like in terms of money?
Yeah, like.
Okay, so Matthew Tkachuk, I think it's a fascinating example.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he's signing a long-term deal, like a $7 or $8 million deal, I think he's 8.5. I don't know. I really like him. I like his game a lot. What about you? Maybe 6 years, 7.5.
I'm closer to that. Like, I was thinking 7.5 to 8 on maybe a 6-7 year deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because, just because some of the other guys on that team, I just want to go over it quickly. Like, Johnny Hockey's only making like 6.5. Right? Yeah, 6.6. I want to say. And I don't remember what Monahan got. I have it here. Monahan got 6.375. So to make him that much more higher paid than the other two.
I think that while I agree with the press, like with your opinion, I think that argument is such a crock of shit from teams. Like, we heard this week of the Colorado Avalanche and how they don't want to pay Mikko Rantanen and Mitch Marner money, and that he's not their comparison, and they don't want to pay more than McKinnon and shit. And they want to get him locked up on like a 7 or 8 year deal at what, 8.5? Like, that's asinine.
Yeah. Well, like, the thing is,
legitimately just the way of the times. And, like, it's how contracts work. When you're up, you set the market, and then in a couple of years you'll be underpaid. Like, it's just the way it goes. I think it's ridiculous to want anything otherwise.
Yeah, I guess, because by the same token, Johnny Hockey did it. I don't know how 2 years ago when he was in the contract dispute, and at 6.7 now, like, that's you're about a 100-point player. Him, Marchand, top of the league in terms of point scoring, and they're not even close to highest paid.
But the thing is, when they signed their deals, it was before Marchand really broke out.
Yeah.
and it was before Johnny Gaudreau had a season like this. I know he had one breakout season, but so did Mitch Marner. Like, I think it's just we're gonna see the cap rise, and because I guess right now there's nothing in sight, but there's gonna be a new TV deal.
Yeah,
it's gonna spike in like 4 or 5 years. So when it's that time, it'll be better, I guess, for the rest of the league. Let's move on to some more of these RFAs. Mikko Rantanen. Let's go to him. What do you think he's gonna get paid?
I think they'll settle in the middle at like 9.5. Like
on what, 6 years?
6, maybe 5 if Joe Sakic would be willing, but
I think 5 by 9.5 is fair. I think if they want anything higher, I think it's got to be in the 10s.
Yeah, they've got how much
That's
left, right? They got 15.
But the thing is, like, I would want like as soon as possible, like a no trade, because Colorado's a place I'd want to live in and stay in because like it's awesome. The Winnipeg Jets have 2 huge RFAs, and now with the news of Dustin Byfuglien, let's talk about him. Look at the Jets defense last year, and look what it is now, especially if Byfuglien's out. It is awful.
I'm afraid to pick. From a fantasy perspective, I'm afraid to pick anybody on the Jets if that defense ends up getting Dustin Byfuglien removed from that team, because that team was carried by its defense. Bad. It was carried by its defense for the longest time, having Byfuglien, Myers, Trouba, Morrissey.
But even if Byfuglien was there, it would be bad this year.
Yeah.
Like, from this year alone, they lost Jacob Trouba, Tyler Myers. Wasn't there another guy also? Can't remember. But regardless, like, those are 2 top 4 guys.
They had Enstrom 2 years ago, but again, he worked his way out of the league. He was a bit older, but still.
Your defense right now is Josh Morrissey, Dmitry Kulikov, Sammy Nico, Tucker Pullman, and Neil Pionk.
And then Nathan Beaulieu as your 6th guy if Dustin Byfuglien doesn't play. That is a very, very big regression from last year. Huge.
It's massive.
And then you're going to invest the remaining 16 million you got left in 2 players. Like, that's going to be tough for Cheveldayoff, because you're going from having what was once last year a solid top 4 of guys that, I mean, very right-hand heavy.
Great defense. Like, they were up there with the Nashville Predators as
the Wild, even the Sharks, like, the Blues. They're talking about good,
the elite upper echelon of the league in defenses.
Yeah,
and now it's arguably one of the worst. If Byfuglien, I would say the worst if
Byfuglien misses this season. Yeah,
which we hope all is well with Byfuglien, but like from a hockey perspective, if you're a Jets fan, you gotta pray that Byfuglien's gonna be back just to keep your head above water on that defensive court. Moving to their RFAs, what do you think that they get? Kyle Connor and Patrick Laine.
This one's tough because I personally think Kyle Connor deserves more money. But I feel like just because of the presence and just him being the 2nd overall pick, Laine's gonna get more. Like, he almost deserves the bigger deal and longer or term that is satisfactory to him. Like, I think he ends up getting not close to what Rantanen is getting, but like, I think like 8.5, 8. And then Connor, I don't know, like 7 by 7,
right? But Laine would be a bridge.
3 by. If it's like 3 years, you're gonna have to give him like
7.5, 8.
And then to fit Connor, I think Connor gets like a 7 by 7.
I think Connor could say whatever Kachuk gets, I want. And you could argue that Connor's a better player than Matthew Kachuk.
You can, yeah.
He's more of an all-around. He's more of an all-around
I like
player,
Kachuk's game a little bit better, but I think, yeah, if you're Kyle Connor, you could definitely look at that and say, yeah, okay, I'll take that.
I think they are a fair comparison.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't think that those guys are really near the end of their settlement, like their contract dispute right now. What other notable RFAs are there?
Braden Point in Tampa was the other one.
Oh, fuck.
And that one will be a huge hole if he doesn't report by the start of the season.
He should honestly get, like, if we're talking, he should honestly get what Kucherov is getting.
They have...
It's 9.5?
8. They have 8 remaining, 8.5 in space.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, like Stamkos at 8.5, Kucherov at 9.5. I think close to 9 million. 8.5 where Stamkos is, just because Tampa, the whole tax-free state, their numbers a little bit lower.
I think it's got to be 9.
Yeah,
I think it's got to be 9. Even with their internal cap, it's got to be more than Stamkos. And should it be less than Kucherov? Sure, but it should be 8 years, 9.
Yeah, this guy put up 92 points last season.
And he's a center, and he's only 23 years old. Like,
yep.
Come on. Tampa, you want to win right now. They have 8.5, you said, in cap space. Fine $500,000.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Like, you got a first-round pick for unloading JT Miller somehow.
Oh, well.
You have assets to move bad contracts.
Yeah.
Because, who do they have on that third line that's not good?
Kaloran gets a lot of money for not a lot of points.
Exactly. Move him. Attach a first-round pick if you have to. I don't even think you'd have to attach a first-round pick. Maybe a second. Who knows?
4.5 for him. And he never really eclipses 50 points. That's a lot of money.
Is there any other RFAs?
I want to say we've covered them.
Let me look it up real quick. I just have a list of...
Yeah.
It doesn't even say who's signed and who's not. So Point, Marner's signed. Rantanen's still out there. Kachuk.
Besser signed, so he's
Besser
done.
signed. McAvoy signed.
Yeah.
Connor's still out there. Werenski signed. Liney's not. David Riddick, is he signed?
I want to say yeah.
Yeah, but I think he is. So yeah. Konechny signed. Buchnevich signed. Gutsev signed with what, New Jersey? White signed. Carlo signed. So yeah. The notable ones are there. Alright. Is that everything we got to talk about this week?
I think that's everything. Yeah, we covered it.
Okay. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.